Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today I've got probably the stupidest deck profile that I'm ever going to make. Um, but recently I saw a video by a Mr. Casual Duelist on YouTube, and it was just phenomenal. This Garnecia Elefantis list, and I had never seen this card before, and I was just it's such a beautiful card. Like this card was originally a holo from Metal Raiders. I think it's from Metal Raiders, and it's just this beautiful, hilarious card that's not from any archetype and does absolutely nothing. But I think that's the beauty of the card. And he made two versions of the deck, one with a for hire engine, and then one that was focused more on the Garnecia Elefantis. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to take that second idea of really going in on the Garnecia Elefantis and just take that to 11 and just absolutely go in on the normal monster Beast Warrior shenanigans. So to start off this list, we've got our three Garnecia Elefantis and one big koala. And what's notable about these is that they are specifically 7 stars. They're beasts and beast warriors. Big koala is a beast. Garnecia Elephantis is a beast warrior. And they have pretty big attack stats, and they're normal monsters. So these, believe it or not, are our boss monsters for this deck. Especially Garnecia Elephantis. We're playing a suite of cards that essentially gives this card effects on a non-effect monster because of its various attributes. Additionally, we're playing 3 Gene Warped Warwolf and 3 Gladiator Beast Andal, because these are just the biggest normal summonable normal monster beast warriors. Gene Warped Warwolf being 2000, and Gladiator Beast Andal being 1900. If you don't want to play Andal or you don't want to play Warwolf or something, there's also Vorse Raider, which is another 1900. It just has a little bit less defense, but I know that's a somewhat iconic card, so you could play that instead of the Andals. And part of the reason we're playing these 4-star monsters is because that allows us to use Rescue Rabbit, which is just a great card. It can get us 2 level 4 lower normal monsters with the same name, and it destroys them in the end phase. It doesn't say they can't attack, so you can use Rescue Rabbit, get 2 Gene Warped Warwolf. We'll see later in the deck, there's a lot of cards that buff their attack, our Beast Warriors attack. So that's already like 4,000 plus damage right there if you're able to attack in after, say, Raigeki. And then before the end phase, you can overlay these for a rank 4, which or for a link 2 or something, which we'll get into in the extra deck in a moment. But that's kind of the idea with the 4 stars and the Rescue Rabbits. Then additionally, we have these 2 cards. These two are 2 kinds of tuners to let us play our Synchro package. Well, we technically have 3, but we'll start with the Beast Warriors. Starting with 3 Trolling Trolls. This is a really interesting card that I had never heard of before I was making this deck. And this card reads, if it's normal summoned, you can target a Beast Warrior monster in your graveyard, and then this card's attribute and level become the same as that monster's until the end of this turn, which makes this not only a great tuner, but it's a tuner that can level modulate, and it can make Xyz plays very well because it can take on the level of any monster in your graveyard. And then additionally, during your main phase, you can special summon 1 Beast Warrior monster with the same attribute and level as this card from your hand. So, for example, if you copy a Gene Warp Warwolf from your graveyard, you could then summon one from your hand using the 3 Trolling Trolls, and then you have a rank 4 on the table. Next we have Shiba Warrior Tarot, and this is a really funny card that I picked just because it's statted really nicely for a deck. It's a 2-star Beast Warrior tuner, which is all good things. And it also has a kind of cool effect, which is it can't be destroyed by battle. And when a card on the field is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you return it to the owner's hand. So that second part isn't great, but the first part means that if you need to sit on, you could if you really need to set this defense position, um, this card is set. If it's attacked, it doesn't get destroyed. If something else is attacked first and then it's attacked, it won't get destroyed. Regardless, it's not amazing, but uh, it is, I would say, worth playing just for the stats alone. And then lastly, for our monsters, we've got Hoppier Squadron. I would imagine most people know what this does. It just allows you to synchro on your opponent's turn, and it is a beast, which is somewhat synergistic with our deck. And again, it's a level 2 tuner. Now moving into the spells, we've got a couple of generics here. We've got Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster. These are classic. I kind of wanted to play them because they're like cool classic cards. And also, it's really nice to be able to, Raigeki off your opponent's board and then attack in for a huge amount of damage with our normals. And Feather Duster is just always useful for clearing your opponent's back row. Then we've got arguably my favorite card in the deck, or second favorite card in the deck, Wild Nature's Release. This card says target a beast or beast warrior monster, and then it gains attack equal to its current defense, and then you destroy it in the end phase. And we have some cards that have just truly monstrous attack and defense stats. Garnecia Elefantis, you play this card on it. It's a 4,400 or 4,200 attacker. No, 4,400, yeah. And Big Koala, a 4,700 attacker. Even if they do get destroyed at the end step, if you are able to get another one out, you can make a rank 7 XCs with them, and then they're off the field. You could potentially make a 9-star synchro. You can make a link 2 with one of these. So there's plenty of ways to avoid the downside, but we are just playing one copy since it's somewhat subpar. Then we have my actual favorite card in the deck, and this was actually what I based the entire deck's premise around, and that is Successor Soul. This card reads tribute an effect monster, and then target an effect monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. So this is you tribute one of your monsters and one of your opponent's monsters, and then you special summon a level 7 or higher normal monster from your hand or deck, which, believe it or not, is Big Koala and Garnecia Elefantis. So this is not only a way to search your big guys and summon them, but it is also removal, and it's a quick play, which is very nice. The only issue is that it requires an effect monster on your side of the field, and sometimes that's hard to get out. So I have some specific monsters in the extra deck to deal with that. Then we're playing one Tri-Brigade Rendezvous. This was kind of an interesting pick because there's actually kind of a ridiculous number of battle tricks for Beast Warrior monsters. But this one is targets specifically linked Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast monsters, and then gives them 700 attack. And it gives them 700 attack, and then if they would be destroyed, you can banish it from your graveyard instead. So I'm only playing the one copy of this, and I'm not sure if I really want to actually run this because, it requires monsters to be linked. So if I had to change that, I would take out this Rendezvous in place of a Horn of the Phantom Beast, just a third copy. Then we've got 3 Fire Formation Tensu, and this is another card that's kind of like the heart and soul of the deck. It basically says you can normal summon an additional Beast Warrior monster each turn. So this is a double summon for Beast Warrior monsters that's continuous, and you want to get this out as soon as possible because being able to normal summon 2 Beast Warriors per turn just ups the tempo so much. Luckily, we can play 3 copies, and we have cards like Tiger King to get this out, or to search this for us. Then we're playing 1 Fire Formation Yoko. This allows us to just straight up target a face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it by discarding a Beast Warrior monster. And since most of our stuff is Beast Warrior, this is some really nice removal. And then, of course, it has the classic Fire Formation effect of giving plus 100 attack. I'm only playing at 1 because it can only hit face-up cards, and it's, that's somewhat of limitation, so it can't really hit back row unless it's face-up. But this is good. It can pop anything. So we're playing 1 copy of this. Then we've got the 2 Tenki. I would be running 3 if I could, but 2 is fine. This searches any of our Beast Warriors. Um, so this is just essentially more copies of our monsters. And it gives you plus 100 attack. Then we have another great card, Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi. And this is our draw spell. And our protection. This is like, it does everything. So, first effect, all non-effect monsters, not normal monsters, non-effect, that's important. All non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. Once per turn, if your opponent normal summons an effect monster while you control a face-down or non-effect monster, you can draw 2 cards. So this gives stuff like Garnecia Elefantis protection, unaffected by monster effects. And then it's also Pot of Greed sometimes, which is just amazing. Then moving on to a card I mentioned previously, we've got Horn of the Phantom Beasts. We're playing this at 2 copies. And this is, similar to Rendezvous. It's a battle trick, except you equip it when you play it, and it's a plus 800 attack. However, additionally, whenever the equipped monster destroys your opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, specifically sends it to the graveyard. So, stuff like Shifter or, Macrocosmos will out this. But then you draw a card. So this, along with Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, can beat some great tempo. Then we've got 2 Tyrant's Throws, and this is another card that I kind of wanted to build around, because you activate it by tributing 2 normal monsters, and then it's arguably one of the most powerful floodgates in the game, which says neither player can normal or special summon effect monsters. No effect monsters whatsoever. Just bottom line. It's just a ridiculous card. And because we're playing, Rescue Rabbit alone facilitates this. So I think, and also Tensu can do the same. So this is just an amazing card in the deck. I'm only running 2 because space was tight, and it seemed a little bricky. But yeah, amazing card. And then last card, I could not believe this card when I read it, but apparently we can play this. Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a face-up non-effect monster. So that can be a normal monster, that can be something like a Berserker of the Tenyi. We've got more monsters in the extra deck that fit that bill. But any non-effect monster, and this is a counter trap, you negate the activation. And then additionally, if this set card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can summon 1 non-effect monster from your extra deck. So not only is this an Omni Negate, essentially, this is Waking the Dragon. And that's going to mean we can play some really funny stuff in our extra deck, which, moving on to our extra deck, Master of Oz. This is a non-effect monster. This is a beast. This thing has 4,200 attack. We can Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi into Master of Oz, and this thing can be hit by Horn of the Phantom Beast. This can become a 5,000 attack Master of Oz that draws you a card whenever it punches over something. If that's not hilarious, I don't know what is. Moving on, I'm just going to go through all of the specifically non-effect monsters we play in the extra deck. We have Naturia Leodrake, which is famously known for being one of the worst synchro monsters of all time, especially the worst Naturia, because it has no effect and it's just generally useless. But this is, a 3,000 attack beater who we can bring out and is a non-effect monster. And then similarly, Berserker of the Tenyi is a Link 3 that is a non-effect and a 3,000 attack beater. All right, continuing on with the main ones, we have 1 Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree. This is our only 10-star synchro. You could play something like Theron, but I like Leo because he's cool. And he's also a beast. Big card, and additionally, your opponent can't target it with card effects except during your main phase 2. So, just a great card. Then we have playing 1 XX Saber Gothams. This is just a big guy. He's a beast warrior, pretty generic. It just requires earth monsters, but like everything we play is earth for the most part. And it's a 9-star, so it's Garnecia or Big Koala plus either of our 2 stars. We're not playing any X-Saber normal monsters to facilitate its ability, but you could play something like an Airbellum if you wanted. We already talked about Leo Drake. Then we're playing Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. Um, this one's kind of interesting. It protects itself. We're not really playing any other dragon monsters. But the real good effect is that once during your standby phase, you can special summon a normal monster in your graveyard. So, for example, you summon this with, Garnecia or Big Koala and one of your 2-stars, and then immediately afterward, you just, bring one of these back for free, which is pretty cool. Then we're playing one Scrap Archfiend. Oh, I actually forgot to mention this one and the next one. These are 2 more non-effect monsters. But Scrap Archfiend is a level 7. That's any of our 3-stars plus a 4-star, or either of these guys plus any of our 4-stars. And then we've got Gaianite, the Force of Earth, which is any of our 2-stars plus our 4-stars. So these are just 2 more non-effect monsters. And then we've got our Xyz monsters. First, I'm going to talk about Tiger King. This is our only link for, and this essentially searches our fire formations. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a Beast Warrior. It's great. Then we're playing number 76, Harmonizer Gradiel. This one takes 2 level 7s, and you can basically swap one of its materials with an opponent's monster in the graveyard, and that's a quick effect. And then it's unaffected by, or no, it's not unaffected. It can't be destroyed by battle, and can't be destroyed by the activated effects of your opponent's monster with the attribute of that material. So this one essentially protects yourself from your opponent's monsters by using your opponent's monsters. So it's just an annoying guy. Then you've got Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This one can't be destroyed by card effects while it has Xyz material. And then while it has Xyz material, every time your opponent activates a card effect, inflict 500 burn to your opponent immediately after it resolves. And then it additionally has a quick effect that's once per turn you can discard or detach a material and then target a Red Eyes, but we don't care about that. This is just a really big, annoying guy who burns your opponent and can't be destroyed by card effects. And then lastly, since we're playing Xyz, we've got AA Zeus, Sky Thunder. He's big, he's awesome, everyone knows him. He's a little expensive, so I'm going to get into some more budget options in a bit. But, this is just to finish off our Xyz package. Then moving into the links, we've already talked about Draco Berserker. For our link 2s, we've got one Ferrijit, which is a beast, and one Darumidal, which is a beast warrior. Ferrijit is really nice because it can you can summon it with 2 monsters, use its effect to summon another one, go into Draco Berserker, so this can help you link climb. Additionally, when it gets sent to the graveyard, you can mulligan a card into the deck, which can get out bricks like Garnecia and Big Koala from your hand. And then we're playing a Firefighting Dromedal. The theory behind this one is it requires beasts or beast warriors, which is really nice. And then additionally, this can get fire formations that you don't want sticking around anymore off your field, as well as popping an opponent's spell trap. So this is really good if your zones are getting a little clogged up and you need to get rid of one of these. And then lastly, we're playing one Link Spider. And the reason for this is because, well, number one, it lets you go into Draco Berserker if you really need to. It just requires a normal monster. It allows you to special summon a level 4 lower normal monster so it can help you link climb. And lastly, this is an effect monster, which means you can turn a non-effect monster into an effect monster, which allows you to proc the effect of Successor Soul. Because you do need a non-effect, or you do need an effect monster on your field to activate it. And we play not that many effect monsters. So this is guaranteed access to an effect monster as long as you have a normal monster, which if you don't have a normal monster, then you either have an effect monster or you just don't have any monster at all.
All right, now I just want to talk about a couple of possible side deck options. Or really not necessarily side deck, but just some options that you can swap into the extra deck if some of the cards in here don't really fit your playstyle. The first one is a Synchro 9, Stellar Wolfrat, or Stellar Wind Wolfrat. And this is a beast synchro that basically it starts at 2500 and every time your opponent's monster use an effect, it gains I think it's yeah 300 attack, and then once its attack becomes larger than 4,000, as a quick effect, you can shuffle both this card and all monsters your component controls into the deck. So this is both just like a big beast guy, um, as well as kind of a removal spell, quick effect sort of thing. I decided to cut it just due to space because I liked kind of how Gotham's and Leo Drake were just big guys. Um, Leo is obviously the biggest guy, and he's a 10 star, which I think is valuable to have. Azure Eyes, I think, is important since it can reborn one of your, Garnecias, just to get more Garnecia in your Garnecia. And then I liked the 7 and 6 star synchros just for a couple more options. Maybe you could cut one of these, um, or maybe Gotham's or slash Leo Drake cut one of these. I would probably cut Leo Drake if I had to, um, for Wolfrayet, but that's up to you. Then moving on to Xyz, we've got number 74, Master of Blades. And this is kind of just another 7-star Xyz you can go into. I would probably swap out Harmonizer Gradiel for this if I was going to run this. But this one just says when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, you can quick effect detach to negate the activation and destroy it, and then additionally destroy another card on the field. So my only issue with this was it requires your opponent to target this, or at least most of the time, since you don't really have anything that targets it. So while it is really powerful negation and destruction, it's kind of situational, so that's why I decided to ultimately cut it. And then the last option I have in here is Gem Knight Pearl, because this is just a big rank 4 Xyz that is notably a non-effect monster. And we don't really have another non-effect. We don't have a non-effect Xyz in the deck. We have one of all of the other types, except for Xyz. So if you happen to have two, like, an Andal and a Warwolf or some combination of the two, um, and you really you had something like a Flawless Perfection on the field, you might want to use those to go into something like a Gem Knight Pearl. So you could play this instead of maybe, again, like the Leo Drake, or maybe one of these two. Um, or again, if you were cutting costs, you could get rid of the Zeus for the Pearl. I will say Tiger King is kind of necessary, so you can't just swap out the rank fours. Um, but yeah, those are just a couple of options for, some more budget options, maybe, some more interesting tech options. Let me know what you think, what techs might be good in this deck. But again, this extra deck, you can kind of play whatever you want, as long as you've got some of the basic non-effect monsters in here. Um, your Master of Oz, obviously for the Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi, your Berserker of the Tenyi, just for the, you know, being a generally big guy. Um, and I think there's just a lot of flexibility with this extra deck in what you can actually do. But with that, that's the deck. Um, it's the game plan is pretty simple. It relies on these big beast warriors and beast monsters with a bunch of battle tricks, and then the extra deck is based around it's kind of dually based around these big 7-star Xyz and 9-star synchros, as well as non-effect monsters, which can pair well with a lot of your support cards and become just monstrously big. So if you enjoyed the list, I'd be happy to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. A like would always be appreciated. Uh, I read all the comments, I see the likes, and it's great for um, my motivation to keep making these videos. If you have any suggestions for new decks for the future, I'm always interested in that. And just to give you like a little sneak peek at what I'm cooking up. Uh, this card, the Despair Uranus. This is um, I've had my eye on this card for a while, and I might be making a deck profile for this guy in the near future. So if you're interested in seeing that, hit the like button. Maybe subscribe if you feel like it. You know, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell you what to and not to do. And also, make sure to check out Casual Duelist. I'll link his channel in the description. He was the one who inspired me to work with Garnecia Elefantis, and he just has an amazing channel for casual Yu-Gi-Oh content, and he's someone that I take really big inspiration from. With all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.